Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So what's happened is we've started a new Oceana campaign. That's our home island bases in the South Pacific. We were bombed by the ruthless and evil Reds, known as the Wrath Squadron or the Wrath Mercenaries. They attacked us. So the first thing we did was yesterday we put some of our men, some boots on the ground in Wrath territory on the main island in the Pacific they're operating from. That's the video where it's black and you couldn't see anything. And now it's time for the big attack. So we've identified where their main airbase is, and we're sending our best and brightest planes in for a all-out assault on that. And we want to do as much damage. I mean, we've just repaired the holes in our runway now. It took us out for 2 days to repair it, and we're not going to destroy their base completely, obviously, but we can at least return the favour of bombing their runway and doing as much infrastructure damage as possible. So that's today. So, just so the Reds know, Blues will be ferrying a long ferry to an IP base, then we'll be going south. Note the orientation, I've had to flip this thing down to the right to fit on the screen. Then we'll be going south for about 80 miles to the attack. Reds have infinite lives because you're simulating a whole airbase of mirages. You can only fire the Mirage, and you have to stay south of the funny no-go line, just, you know, so you can't attack our base, basically. Other than that, there are no restrictions on you. Have fun and do whatever you want to do.
One question, is the F-10 view limited to the fog of war? Because we have a GCI who's using an actual plane for this.
Roger.
So it would be good to have that be realistic.
I was going to actually ask you guys what you want. I've set it to fog of war, and I'll leave it if that's what you want.
Yes, the more realistic for the Red, the better.
Red, if you're done, can you please now leave, because we now need to do our planning and stuff.
You can shoot down the red AWACS if you want to.
Oh, yeah, of course you can. It's not invincible or anything. I can't tell you where it is because that would be cheating, but you can see an arrow and you can guess, you know, it's not going to be too far away.
I'm sure you'll be able to see it from over 100 miles away from its massive radar,
No, it wouldn't. No, it's not that far from the base, so you'll find it pretty easily. So yes, that will be part of our tactics, obviously. Okay, can we confirm all the Reds have F'd off? So bearing in mind that this is flipped to the right, sure, so that's Makeup on the right, that's Soshi on the left. We're going to be going south through the mountains one way or another and hitting. So who wants to kick off with what the feck we're going to do?
Yeah, I feel like the first vegan strike might be difficult with 4 Mirages who will be looking for us.
Six Mirages.
6 Mirages who will be looking for us, and I don't think it'll be quite as easy to fool as you guys were the other.
They're not going to be on the ground.
Week.
No, they will
go with them.
They will be.
They were QRI.
That's actually a good point, but they'll be working. They're going to have a GCI, so they're going to work to whatever their GCI says. If he spots us,
but if the Vigans aren't detected, we might have a chance.
Well, the only way to avoid detection is going to be. obviously you're going to go through a canyon.
Stay low.
Yeah, for fun and funny. Obviously, yes, but we need distraction techniques. Well, there's two things.
Yeah, but what we don't want to happen is for them to scramble when we haven't been detected.
I guarantee, because I've not set them any rules, they will be up in the middle of those mountains, hiding in the mountains. That's, I imagine, what they'll do, is what they did last time. And there's nothing really we can do to stop them. We can't say, sit on the ground until you get attacked, because that's it'll be mission. Because all we've got to do is bomb the runway once and piss off. That's all we've got to do.
They should sit on the ground until they see a radar contact.
Roger. But the thing is, we can use that to advantage and win without taking off. We can just send the Vigans off, and
that is what they're for.
Well, if Octo uses Lot ATC if it's on the server, then the settings would have to be set to like a really, really realistic thing for us to even have a chance, because if it's set to like arcade, you can just see everything.
Yeah, I'm not going to set it to arcade.
Right, okay, I don't know anything about that, but make it like hard for them to see, like fog of war, essentially, is what we want. That's what we've got. We've got fog of war, so we can see them when one of our guys sees them on their radar, our radar, if that makes sense. Not that that's a huge advantage. We're not even really looking for them per se.
Got a big data link.
So who do you want in? It's a real tough one. I mean, does anyone know that terrain? How much flat you've got between the mountains and the runway?
About 200 meters.
Ah, but that's ideal then.
So there is they'll obviously know we're going to come down that valley.
Which just the central one that's hidden, obscured?
Yeah, there's a. Hang on, let's give it a couple of.
I mean, why don't you go a different route then, like at the top, like to the west?
Can do. Well, it depends. If we're going for an initial strike with them on the ground, we go via the main route because it's well obscured, the entry path, and they won't get off in time. If they're already up in the air, we could potentially find another valley.
But I can guarantee they'll be in the air even if we turn them to stay on the ground. So I suggest going the route least expected if you want to stay alive.
But presumably we'll be able to know if they're up in the air or not because we'll have our own radars, etc.
We will we'll have the F-15s up at Angels 30 scanning.
We could use their radar to our advantage. We make it obvious that we're going after the AWACS. They're going to have to detach some of their flights to guard them. So that may be a way to draw off some of their planes.
I would say yes, usually, but isn't the AWACS now rendered obsolete? Now they've got the GCI guy. Am I right in saying that?
But that's still fog of war, isn't it?
Without the
AWACS, that's going to severely limit them.
So the red AWACS does affect their GCI then. Well, it's a valid target then, isn't it? We do need to go and nail it. So
detach somebody to go get it and make it obvious that we're going to go get it.
So a distraction
draw off some of their planes. Yes.
I mean, how about this then? Just say we plan a route for the Vigans, we send the Vigans off, and we have a squad of CAP above 30,000 feet above the Vigans, pretty much shadowing them. It's really, really hard to spot planes when they're below each other, especially when someone's in the valley and someone's up at Angels 30. It's hard for their GCI to see what's going on. Does anyone have a view on that?
I like this, so kind of like an escort, but like 30,000 feet.
What you're trying to do is mess their radar up by having
right.
You'd have to.
That's a good idea, and then a whole separate like one or two guys going for the AWACS, one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the idea needs to be that if they dive down to attack us, you guys swoop down and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so they have to engage you. They cannot attack us, otherwise they'll die.
We need a separate. We're gonna have a separate flight to attack their base, right? Because that's what we're here for.
Roger. That's
the only.
So that could be like a three-prong, basically attack. Where they try to
make them divide, make them split their forces.
Okay.
And then they have to engage our CAP, and we
draw them away from the airfield
and just
I think
fucking
we go Vigans down the main valley with the CAP above. We have one Harrier flight going north, swooping round, and then one south.
Just get this right, bud. It's west. Up on the spreadsheet is west. It's just not
apologies. Well, in which case west and east then.
Right, so we have.
You're making one mistake on this, though. You're assuming they've only got one life, and they don't. They don't have to engage the F-15s. They can suicide into the Vigans and take them down.
They
can do, but the point is that if they do that, the Harriers will be in next.
And those aren't as effective against the SA-6s.
They aren't, but those SA-6s aren't actually that great. And I'm fairly certain we can just level the airfield.
Mm-hmm.
Have we got the 25 as well to keep firing missiles in?
The
point is you have to overwhelm them. And the other point is, if they suicide into the Vigans, they'll still get killed before, hopefully, they hit us.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to hit those Vigans that accurately.
Just alter your plan ever so slightly. Put the Vigans behind something else, so have the F-15s over the Harriers with the Vigans in tail.
What, you mean as a distraction?
That if they suicide into the lead flight, it's only the Harriers that take it. Hell, even have the Harriers side up with bloody AIM-9s and have them gun them down themselves, clearing the path for the Vigans.
Harrier in the valleys is nearly as effective as a Mirage. You've got AIM-9Ms versus other.
It's more effective than the Mirage.
We could just load up a bunch of Harriers.
Fight them in the. You have your. Gen 4 stuff up high. If they try and go up there and engage them, they get killed. If they get down the valley, they get killed by the Harriers.
I like
escort. And then we have the Vigans come in a little bit later once they've taken some losses.
You've got to bear in mind that Prince Buick are restricted to 300 knots roughly when they're travelling. So you've got to bear that in mind. They're going to need a good head start.
We'll give them a head start. Because we're so fast, we can hang quite far back and just head in when you say, right, we're ready. Because it's not necessarily about killing the enemy, it's about draining their missiles once they've got no missiles.
Roger. The SA...
And now we're going to send in the seed, right, with the sidearms and everything.
I figured seed will be west, so that's up on the spreadsheet, because the mountains are slightly lower there, and we can hover shifty out there, just pummeling down missiles. Now, they can turn the fucking missiles off though. The Su-25 was rendered completely useless on Monday because of Shifty turning them off.
They can, but if the 25 is timed with the Vigans, they turn the SA-6s off, they can't hit us.
Yep, that's a good point. So as long as Shifty is just pounding missiles, every 20 seconds a missile goes out, they're going to have to keep those off,
they have to keep them off.
Interesting.
Now I can do seed in the A10C, but I can do seed in the A10C. All I have to do is just spot them on the RWR. It's kind of brute forcing it, but my missiles, they don't track the radar. It's just AGMs.
An A10 is a sitting duck out there, a slow plane that's going to take several minutes. It's the only way to survive this is
I had some terrain.
I don't know, Cap. I'd have some things to say about that.
Mm-hmm. And not if you use terrain.
Okay.
A10C is actually it's a very good C platform if you use it properly.
Exactly.
Okay.
I do it all the damn time.
How can the A10C do seed?
Hey.
It does. It finds the missile stations by dragging them out, and it uses its shit ton of flares and chaff to basically draw missiles.
Right. So the A10C will probably be secondary seed. So assuming the SU-25 doesn't destroy the air defenses but can turn them off while the Vigans attack, we obviously still need to disable the air defenses once the runway is destroyed and when the Harriers need to go and do their job. So clearly that's what the A10C will have to do.
I was going to say, why don't we swap me with Rommel? So Rommel goes into the blue seed, I'll drop down into the Vigan class with Harrier, I'll arm the Harrier with AIM-9s to protect them.
Go on and get it done.
I think we should split up
my idea for the A10s was don't go straight in. Go, south of the map, but it would be east on the actual map. Go below the airfield and come in from the coast, along the coast. That way, they wouldn't be expecting us to come from that direction.
They'll see you.
If they do see us, it'll draw barrages away.
They have a whacking great AWACS, they'll see us.
I'm going to stay in the mountains.
They'll see you.
I think they're going to be busy with a three-prong attack. We got one group going to the AWACS, two groups coming from the middle, A10s coming from the south. They're going to have to pick somebody to go after.
Roger. I do have a possible job for the A10s that the A10s might be very good at. Now, how the Reds defeated us on Monday, they didn't actually kill. They had a good go at our SA-6s, but they couldn't kill them. The way they got in was they drained, the Su-25 drained all 12 of our SAM missiles. And these guys have got the same amount of missiles. You can just sit there, if you've got a good RWR and a maneuverable Warthog, you could just sit there draining them. And that's
what I do.
That's half of their entire defense gone.
That's a major tactic.
Can I just? I'm gonna explain how to avoid SAM missiles. You dive low for the deck, and if you're already low, then you do a roller coaster move where you go up, invert, go down towards the ground. You pull the missile into the ground. It's aiming where you're going to be.
Roger, can I have you on that, Elo?
Basic evasion tactics.
Can I have you on that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Roger, cool.
Who's leading Buick?
Joker.
Hi, Joker. What you got to say about that?
Elo, essentially, you're going to split off because they can't wait for your 300-knot jet. It's too much of a hindrance to them. So you're just going to lag behind Elo, but you'll still be technically in their group. We can't.
I'll take care of business.
Yeah, we can't restrict all of those Harriers. It's like
I copy that. I don't care.
Cool. Okay, gentlemen. So let's talk about all we need now is which groups are going to go where and the timings. Unless anyone objects, I would ideally like to have Hammer, that's the seed, to the west, so that's up on the on our detail. We'll have. Do you want to take Buick through the middle in front of Blood's group? Is that? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I copy that because Blood and them they're going to catch up to us any day. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Blood.
By the time we get there.
Yeah,
we'll catch up. 23's the emplacements are on a Euro.
They're proper emplacements, so you can't hurt them. They'll be too good.
Hey, Cap.
No, that's not the problem. It's the problem about hitting them and finding them.
There's no point of going for those things. We want to literally bosh in, kill the runway, drop some bombs on the apron, and then go. Well, this is just my. I don't think we're going to have time to loiter. I think you guys are thinking, I'm going to hang around outside the base and just put shots in there, It's literally the only way we can survive this is in, bombs away, everyone's out. If you loiter, you will be dead if you loiter because those Mirages are way too good and they're infinite respawn. So, just saying.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sorry. We've got a new guy first.
Here's an idea. Y'all, they're probably expecting your cap flight to be high, right?
Yep.
Send your Vigans in with an F-15 escort with his radar pounding away. If they're going to ignore your cap, send your cap flight down low and try to jink them out. Let your Vigans go in high.
No, that's... So, alright, it's not what they're expecting, but it plays against the advantages of all those aircraft. So if our cap is high, they can fire down on the enemy. If it's low, they can't do that. That's why we're having blue armed up with AIM-9s, the Harriers, because they're basically as good as Mirages in those tight turns in the valleys. And they can't use the Fox 1s on the Mirages as easily because there's not enough distance.
That's correct.
Right.
I got a suggestion for the
really
seed.
Good down
Jaden?
Okay, if we send everything up top, they could send for the seed. If we send 2 to the west, 2 to the east, then we can catch them in the middle.
Is this...
Well, due to the different speeds of the aircraft and the Harrier and the ranges, I don't want to be flying with Harriers.
Yes, correct.
I can't keep up with them, and they can't shoot at my range.
Yeah, so for instance, Hammer, which is 2 Harriers, a Warthog and a Frogfoot, you can't go together because you're ill-suited. So Jaden and Gumbo will go off, and Shifty will probably do his own thing, or he might hang around with Rommel. It's up to you guys. So yeah, that's true. So we won't. So the Seed and Hammer and the Buick won't be clinging together like we would normally have, like the Vigans will.
Okay.
Because it just restricts. It's just everyone. It stresses everyone out, and it's not what we want. In the ferry, yes, we'll be together, but not in the thingy. So can I confirm that the Hammer are going to the west, and Buick are going down the middle, and then Cutlass are following Buick down the middle at a suitable distance?
Yep.
Okay, that's good. We'll mark out some waypoints when we're at our IP base. So all we've got now is timings and the cap. So do Hammer and Buick want to set off together then? So we've got as many planes in the air as we can for maximum confusion. At the same time, we can send both Sabre and Dagger up, which are the cap flights. And then Vigans...
Well, before we decide that, shouldn't the A-10s form their own wing? You know, instead of being sprinkled around the other 2 wings?
It should be the A-10s together, yeah.
Roger?
Put the A-10s in Spear.
Roger, I guess I'll lead Spear flight.
Okay, that's good.
Right, we also need to make sure we know exactly who's the lead of each flight, because the only people I want speaking on 240 are the flight leaders, because it'll be total chaos otherwise.
Correct. Sonic,
do we have permission to kick people who speak unnecessarily on 240?
Yes, you can, and Sonic, you're probably going to have to be the lead because you're the only non-newbie in there.
No problem.
I'll take the Harriers for Hammer.
Right. Well, I hope everyone else is confused because Cap is. So we've got 3 attack flights now, 4 attack flights and 2 Cap flights. So we've got... So
just do what we've always done. Just improvise. Just go in there and
yes. And how does that end up almost all the time?
Yeah, I mean all the missions end like that anyway.
Getting captured.
Well, they end like that because we don't actually do any proper planning, and we don't have flight leaders who take responsibility for each of their individual tactics.
Cap has a new idea. Here we go. Yeah, true. It is all about the leaders. Right. So here is a cool thing. We start off with a Trident. So Hammer, Buick, and Spear take off at the beginning. So we'll have them on the runway ready to go. Hammer, like I said, go west. Buick, which is Joker, go down the centre to clear out that canyon. And Spear, you go down to the east or down on the picture above. That way we've got a Trident. We're split up into 3 then, and that maximises survivability, I would imagine, in general, because there's only so many groups that they can jump on. Then, when Blood decides that Buick is at a suitable distance, they can follow them down the canyon, and even if they have to overtake them, that's fine, it's not the end of the world, and go for their bomb. And then all that leaves is Sabre and Dagger, which is Cap Flight 1 and Cap Flight 2, and we can be kind of up between the flights. So I'd say, well, does anyone want to go for the AWACS for a start? Does anyone think that's a good idea?
We definitely need to go for it, but it might be a case if we kill them. We have to kill the Mirages first, because once they're up in the air, the AWACS is irrelevant because they've got their own radar.
Roger.
Tender's back.
Sherman can lead, can knock Sonic off. Sherman can lead Dagger, because we need experienced captains.
Who's leading Hammer?
Fuck.
Shifty. Give me a shifty shift.
I think leading the Su-25s, but the two Harriers will be flying themselves.
Roger.
I'll be for
Alright, Shifty, if you could just, make sure that they know what they're doing. I poke them in the right direction.
Shouldn't the biggins go after the AWACS?
Nope.
I'll take a Eagle then.
But whoever goes after the AWACS, it should be in a pair.
2 Eagles, or...?
Yeah, last time you sent one guy in the mission and he didn't get through.
Yeah.
They may guard the AWACS.
Sorry, I was zoning out for a bit there. Have we decided we're going to go for the AWACS?
We should go for the AWACS after we've dealt with the hostile cap.
I thought
so. It'll be a secondary objective.
I can tell you it's a death wish going for an AWACS because you got to fly one way or another. You got to fly over that base, and nothing can survive up there. So yeah, once the cap's been knocked down back to the ground, then someone can make the executive order to send people after the AWACS.
This is why we need F-14s.
Right. So should we just run through the plan quickly so that all the leaders know what they're doing? As long as the leaders know what they're doing, it'll be fine.
Sonic, do you want to swap for Sherman, or are you happy leading?
Sherman could take over. It's fine.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll speak it first, Bud, and then you can confirm it afterwards.
All right, go from flight by flight so that each leader knows exactly what they're doing.
Roger. So once we're IP based, the first thing that happens is Hammer, Buick, Spear are going to take off. Hammer are going to go to the right by about 20 miles. That is so right as they're travelling. So that is west, but offset by 20 miles. Once they get to a distance as determined by Shifty, or Shifty's going to essentially stop when he's ready and do his thing, and the Harriers will keep going and be doing seed work. Buick, that's Joker, will be taken for the same time and going right down the main central valley to clear the valley out. And if they can get all the way to the base, good. I get the feeling you won't, but to do your best. And if you can do any damage, Blood, and Spear have also taken up for the same time. You guys are slow movers. You're going to the left by 20 or so miles. That is to the east. You're working your way through the mountains. Obviously, all three people that I've said, I think, initially at least, will have to be on the deck. Otherwise, you're going to get picked up. So everyone, until they're through the mountains to the point where they want to attack, you've got to be on the deck. Otherwise, you'll get spotted easily. Anyway, Spear are going to be going to the left. That's the east, 20 miles, and working their way in the mountains until they're at a point where they can attack the base and do their thing, and then they can do their thing. When Buick, that's Joker, far enough to Blood's liking, Blood will scramble, catch them up, possibly overtake them, and do the strike on the base. Everyone note the orientation of the base is turned left to 90 degrees. Sorry, it is correct, but the main thing is turned right to 90 degrees. After the first three flights go up, Sabre and Dagger cap flights will be going up, one bracketing to the left. Cap will be bracketing to the left with Cap 1 by 15 miles or so and going high. Cap 2, that's Dagger, will be bracketing 15 miles to the right, that's west, and heading towards the base high and doing cap work from there. And that's it. What do we think about that?
Sounds good. Now let's ask to see if the flight leaders know what they're doing. Joker, what are you doing?
Right, so Hammer, me and Spear are taking off at roughly the same time, and then Buick's going down Centre Valley.
Correct.
Good. Cap?
So Cap is in control of Sabre, that's Cap 1. We're taking off essentially just after the first three teams are moving, and we're going left 15 degrees, heading 50 miles, heading towards the base, and acting as Cap and trying to take as much radar attention as we can.
And Robble? Say again?
Say again?
Robble, what is your flight doing?
We're probably going to fly low through the valleys and follow the river all the way up to the target.
Yeah, but where are you attacking relative? What are the timings?
We'll probably come in after a lot of the seed has been done, since we got the A-10s. I mean, we'll do some seed if there's any left over, but we'll probably be attacking the aircraft that is on the park.
What about Tony? Was Tony listening?
Yes, Tony is listening.
What was can you answer the question?
Well, my suggestion was to...
Not your suggestion. What are the orders you've been given?
We're asking if you were listening.
Yes, I was listening.
So?
We're going to follow the river to the base after the seed is attacked.
That's all wrong.
Yeah. See, Spear is coming from the north.
No, Spear was coming from the...
Sorry, not the north, west.
It's coming from the east. So they're going to take off, turn left to the east
Need to
by
stop
20 miles.
orientating these
Well, I
maps.
can't help it, but
weirdly.
it's like the size of it. It doesn't fit. Anyway, yep, so they're going to the east by 20 miles, I'll say again. They're taking off with Buick and Hammer. They're going bracketing east at 20 miles, going on the deck through the mountains until they've reached a certain point from the base when they feel they can launch their attack, and that's what they're doing.
Okay, Shifty next.
Hammer Flight have been tasked to take off at the start and attack from the west, doing seed.
Correct.
Sounds good to me. Who else, apart from myself? Sherman.
Right, so I know Dagger's doing cap, but I'm not sure exactly how we do it. I'm assuming that a high bar cap is not going to help in this situation.
Well, we want to take as much attention as we can, and we want to, in my view, we want to be up high, both cap flights, taking as much attention as we can, with as much visual look as we can get. Unless anyone's...
as long as the Harriers can look after themselves in the mountains.
Essentially, they're probably better on their own without us when they're in the mountains.
Yeah, because if you put a lot of Fox 3s in there, they'll just target friendly units.
Yes, but SU-27s are Fox 1 only, so...
Well, so your job is to take off from the runway, Sherman, and you're going to follow the line that with the 18 nautical mile line, but you're going to bracket 15 miles to the right, or that will be the west effectively, and you're to travel roughly level on a level front with essentially all the flights that have gone up before us, and look after that whole western quadrant and attack anything and get as much attention as you can.
Pick whichever altitude you think is best to execute your task.
Yeah, I don't know, flankers.
I'll figure it out. In terms of what they're flying, they've only got Mirages, so they have a very limited payload, so I'm expecting them to be flying low and doing hit-and-runs attacks.
Roger.
Okay, and finally myself, Cutlass, we're waiting for the three-pronged attack of Spear, Hammer and Buick to get into action. Once is it Buick who going down the centre, got sufficiently close to the target, will take off, catch them up, overtake them, bomb the runway, go home.
Is the server up yet?
We're just finished our briefing, so we're essentially going to start doing it now.